माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारि यमुना तीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गिरिधारी राधे जय राधा गिरिधारी राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya, Gurudev. So Hare Krishna everyone, very warm welcome to the first day of the year. It is 1st of January 2024. So may this year be very auspicious to all of us, and may we connect to the Lord every day in the morning with the touch of Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam and Lilamrita. And let us all come together and connect every day and make the new year very, very blissful and auspicious. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity, and please bless me that I'm able to do this service to the best of my ability. So we will be reading now from Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita. So I'll just be sharing the screen. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, Mother, you can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. So reading from here, the 17th chapter. Prabhupada moved quickly down the 4 flights of stairs. He had not stopped to gather up any of his belongings or even to decide where he would go or whether he would return. There had been no time to consider anything. He had taken quite a shock, and now he was leaving the arena of David's madness. The usual group of bums were sitting in the doorway, and with their customary flourish of curtsy, they allowed him to pass. They were used to the elderly swamis coming in and out, going shopping and returning, and they didn't bother him. But he was not going shopping today. Where was he going? He didn't know. He had come onto the street without knowing where he would go. He wasn't going back to the loft, that was for sure. But where could he go? The pigeons flew from roof to roof, traffic rumbled by, and the ever present bums loitered about, getting drunker on cheap, poisonous alcohol. Although Prabhupada's home had suddenly become an insane terror, the street at its door was also a hellish, dangerous place. He was shaken. He could call Dr. Mishra's and they might take him in. But that chapter of his life was over, and he had gone on to something better. He had his own classes, young people chanting and hearing. Was it all over now? After 9 months in America, he had finally gotten a good response to his preaching and kirtan. He could just quit now. A.C. Bhakti Vedant Swami Maharaj, whom everyone knew and respected in Vrindavan as a distinguished scholar and devotee, who had an open invitation to see the Vice President of India and many other notables, now had to face starkly that he had not one friend of stature in the United States. Suddenly, he was as homeless as any derelict on the street. In fact, many of them, with their long time berths in flop houses, were more secure than he. They were ruined but settled. The Bowery could be a chaotic hell if you weren't on a very purposeful errand, going directly to the store or back to your place. It was no place to stand wondering where will you live or is there a friend you can turn to. He wasn't on his way to Chinatown to shop, nor was he taking a little stroll, soon to return to the shelter of the loft. If he couldn't go to the loft, he had no place. How difficult it was becoming to preach in America amid these crazy people. He had written prophetically in his poem the day he had arrived in Boston Harbor, "My dear Lord, I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do with me whatever you like, but I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? What about his scheduled classes? What about David? Should he go back and try to talk with the boy? This had been David's first fit of violence, but there had been other tense moments. David had a habit of leaving the soap on the floor of the shower stall, and Prabhupada had asked him not to because it was a hazard. But David wouldn't listen. Prabhupada had continued to remind him, and one day David had gotten angry and shouted at him. But there was no real enmity. Even today's incident had not been a matter of personal differences. The boy was a victim. So shall we stop here, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Stop share the screen. Yes. So I will now go to Srimad Bhagavatam. And can you see the screen now?
Yes, Mataji, you can see it.
Okay, thank you. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, verse number 73. The chapter is chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva. So I'll just read this verse. Te vayam noditah sarve praja sarge prajeshvaraha anena dvasta tamasaha siskrishmo vividha prajaha. Te vayam noditah sarve praja sarge prajeshvaraha anena dvasta tamasaha siskrishmo vividha prajaha. Te vayam noditah sarve praja sarge prajeshvaraha anena dvasta tamasaha siskrishmo vividha prajaha. Anybody would like to try?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, I am trying.
Yes, please. Thank you, Prabhu.
Te voyam noditha sarve praja sarge prajeshvaraha anena dhastamasaha srishtrikshmo vividha prajaha. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anyone else?
Te vayam nodita sarve praja sarge prajeshwaraha anena dhvasta tamasaha shishikshmo vividha prajaha.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, can I try?
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Te vayam nodita sarve praja sarge prajeshwaraha anena dhashta tamasa shishrikshmo vividha prajaha.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, I am also trying.
Yes, please, Mataji. Yeah.
Te vayang nodita sarve praja sarge prajesharaha anena dhasta tamasha sisrik samo vividha praja. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay. So we'll go by word to word. Te, by him. Vayam, all of us. Noditaha, ordered. Sarve, all. Praja sarge, at the time of creating population. Praja Ishvaraha, the controllers of all living entities. Anena, by this. Dvashta tamasaha, being freed from all kinds of ignorance. Siskrishmaha, we created. Vividaha, various kinds of. Prajaha, living entities. Anybody would like to read the translation?
Yes, I can read. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When all the Prajapatis were ordered to create by Lord Brahma, we chanted these prayers in praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and became completely free from all ignorance. Thus, we were able to create different types of living entities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody would like to read the purport, please?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
In this verse, we can understand that the various types of living entities were created simultaneously at the very beginning of the creation. The nonsensical Darwinian theory of evolution is not applicable here. It is not that intelligent human beings did not exist millions of years ago. On the contrary, it is understood that the most intelligent creature, Lord Brahma, was first created. Then Lord Brahma created other saintly sages like Marichi, Bhrigu, Atreya, Vasishtha, and Lord Shiva. They, in their turn, created different types of bodies according to karma. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapiladeva told his mother that the living entity gets a particular type of body in accordance with his work, and that his body is decided upon by higher authorities. The higher authorities, as appointed by Supreme Personality of Godhead, are Lord Brahma and all other Prajapatis and Manus. Thus, from the beginning of creation, it can be seen that the first creature is that of illusion. As stated in Brahma.
Thus, from the beginning of creation, it can be
It
seen.
is most intelligent. It is not that so-called modern intelligence has developed by the gradual process of evolution. As stated in Brahma Vaivarta Purana, there is a gradual evolutionary process, but it is not a body that it is evolving. All the bodily forms are already there. It is the spiritual entity or spiritual spark within the body that is being promoted by the laws of nature under the supervision of superior authority. We can understand from this verse that from the very beginning of creation, different varieties of living entities were existing. It is not that some of them have become extinct. Everything is there. It is due to our lack of knowledge that we cannot see things in their proper perspective. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody wants to read the second one?
Okay,
You want me to continue?
I'll read the second one.
Okay,
Thank you, Mataji. In this verse, the word dhvasta tamasaha is very important. For without being free of ignorance, one cannot control the creation of different types of living entities. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.31.1, Daiva Netrena, bodies are awarded under the supervision of superior powers. How can the superior powers control the evolutionary process of the living entity if they are not free from all imperfection? The followers of the Vedic instructions cannot accept the Darwinian theory of evolution, for it is marred by imperfect knowledge. ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नष्टकी। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपदाय भूतले श्रीमती महाविष्णु गोस्वामी नामे नामे विष्णु गोस्वामी नामे विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपदाय श्रीमती जनानंद गोस्वामी नामे स्वामी। Okay, so we'll see this verse again. I just want to recite this again, and it is a very, very nice verse and a few points to take away today. So I'll just recite this verse again. Te vayam noditah sarve praja sarge prajeshvaraha anena dhvasta tamasaha siskrishmo vividha prajaha. So Prajeshvaraha, what is Prajeshvaraha over here? It is Prajeshvaraha is the controller of all living entities. What are they doing? Praja Sarge. The Prajeshvaraha is doing Praja Sarge. That is at the time of creating population. What are they doing? Shishkrimo. They are creating. Creating what? Vividha Prajaha. They are creating various kinds of living entities. So the Prajeshvaraha, they are at the time of creation are creating various types of living entities. Now let us look what Srila Prabhupada is talking about them. So a few points over here is that when all the Prajapatis were ordered to create by Lord Brahma, we chanted these prayers in praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Second point, and became completely free from ignorance. So by chanting the prayers in praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they became completely free from ignorance. And the third point is, thus we were able to create different types of living entities. So I'll just stop sharing this one. So when we look around us, we look at the nature, we look at the mountains, the rivers and the oceans and everything, and then we think that, because we can see the nature, then everything is coming from the nature. So there are a few sects of people who think nature is God. Yes. But if you see that, a child is sitting on the lap of the mother, then we know that, the mother is there, but the child cannot come from the mother alone. So there has to be the father of the child, right? So we know, as we know that there is a father of the child, similarly, we should also know that nature is also having somebody who is actually creating the nature. Who is that somebody? That somebody is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this whole thing is actually talking about the creation, and from there, the importance of prayers. It is emphasized that, how prayers are very important to come out of ignorance. So why we have to come out of ignorance? Because things can be created only when we come out of ignorance. We even, for example, like I'm sitting in front of this computer screen. Somebody must have created this computer screen. Yes. So this is an energy, but there has to be an energetic also. So there is somebody who is actually has done, and now I'm actually using this. Right. So similarly, that person who has done this thing, the creation of this computer also, he has to come out of ignorance. He cannot remain in ignorance. And what is ignorance actually? Ignorance means, like, you are not having proper knowledge. You are lazy. You are, most of the time you are sleeping. So these are all ignorance. So, and that is in the mode of ignorance. So when you are in ignorance, you cannot create anything. So that's why over here the Prajapatis, they were ordered by Lord Brahma to, and they were given this praise by Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is giving this praise to the Prajapatis. So there are four components. There are few components of the prayers actually. So the first component of the prayer, in every prayer you will see that the first component is to pay obeisances. So first we pay obeisances, and then the second is you glorify. glorify the Supreme Lord. So over here in this chapter also, in few verses before, you will see that, how Shiva is glorifying Supreme Lord. He's telling that you are the all auspicious, you are the Ananta, you are your Sheshnag. From you everything has come out. You are the beginning of everything. You are the controller and the master of the senses. So this is the way how Shiva is glorifying the Supreme Lord. And then he is also asking for a benediction. Does anybody remember what benediction Shiva has asked for in this chapter?
Association of devotees.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Yeah. Yeah. So in text 58, Shiva is actually over here. It is very nice. I just wanted to read that. He says that, my dear Lord, your lotus feet are the cause of all auspicious things and the destroyer of all the contamination of sin. I therefore beg. He's using the word, I therefore beg your lordship to bless me by the association of your devotees who are completely purified by worshipping your lotus feet and who are so merciful upon the conditioned souls. I think that your real benediction will be to allow me to associate with such devotees. So this is a benediction which Lord Shiva is asking from the Supreme Lord. The association of the devotees is so important, and sometimes we take it very lightly and for granted if we have the association, but this is an association which every one of us should seek for. And the same thing, these prayers Shiva is actually passing on to the Prajapatis, and Shiva is actually getting this prayers from Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma is passing on the prayers to Lord Shiva, and then Shiva is passing on to the Prajapatis. So similarly, when we see that when we come to this whole creation part, then we see that the creation has not happened all of a sudden, but and there is somebody else who is responsible for this creation. And therefore, in chapter 14, verse number 4, it says that, Sarvayoneshu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavati Yaha Tesham Brahma Mahadionir Aham Bija Pradapitaha. So it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth of this material in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. So I'm doing a little bit of background on what the creation is all about. So the creation is happening because it is done by the Supreme Lord. So he is a Bija Pita, means he is a seed-giving father. So the Supreme Lord, if you see, he has actually got two roles to play. So the first role is that he's always doing Nitya Leela. He is doing his eternal pastimes with the gopis and the gopas and Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Maharani in the spiritual world. And second role is that he is actually in doing the routine work of creating, annihilating, and maintaining this whole universe. But he does not take part directly in the creation of the whole universe. He is it is just like when there is a CEO of the company, the CEO does not do all the work by himself, does he? He has branch of managers under him, and the general manager and all other staff members who is actually carrying out the work what the CEO wants. So similarly over here, Krishna is he's a CEO, I mean, to understand that way. So, and he is delegating the work, he's getting his job done by different agents. So at the time of creation, what happens is that there are two types of creation which happens. The first is the primary creation and the secondary creation. So the primary creation is the creation where there's a lump of matter. It is unmanifested, which is called the pradhan. And when Krishna glances at that pradhan, then that lump, it gets manifested, which has all the ingredients, all the elements and the living entities, and they get activated and they become Mahatattva. And then the Mahatattva, it further becomes into a Prakriti, which we can see with our eyes, the mountains and the rivers and everything. So this is what the Supreme Lord creates in this way. And as we all know that from the Supreme Lord expands himself and he becomes, he lies on the Karana ocean as Karana Dakshai Vishnu, and from his various pores, so many universes come out, and in each universe again he expands and becomes Garbhodayakshay Vishnu, and then the Garbhodayakshay Vishnu, he expands and he becomes Shirodakshay Vishnu and goes to each and every living entity. So from the Garbhodayakshay Vishnu sprouts the lotus stem, and then comes Brahma, and now this is the secondary creation which happens. Now Lord Brahma also, he doesn't create everything by himself. He also delegates his job. So the first thing what Lord Brahma did after he came into existence is he actually approached his sons, the 4 Kumaras, and he asked them to create progeny. But the 4 Kumaras, they came in front of him with folded hands, and then they said that they were not able to do it because they are all Naishtiki Brahmacharis, and they are very sorry, we will not be able to create it. And so Brahma was actually very not very happy to hear it, and he was disappointed and he got angry. And anyway, he curbed his anger, and still, from his eyebrows, middle of his eyebrows, emerged a personality, which is Lord Shiva. So then Lord Shiva, he asked that, what is the purpose for that you have asked me, and I'm here in front of you. Then Lord Brahma asked him that now you have to create progeny. So Shiva said, okay, fine, I'll do that. And he started now creating the living entities. So Lord Shiva was creating the living entities right and left and without any consideration. And what was happening was that there were lots of demons and rakshasas also who actually came into existence, and they started devouring the planet. Seeing this, Lord Brahma was in anxiety, and he was not very happy. And he told to Lord Shiva that the demons actually with the fiery flames from their eyes are devastating the whole planet, and they have even come to attack me. So please stop this, and you better devote your time in penance and austerity. And then the job of creating the universe was given to the Prajapatis. And then this is where the Prajapatis were ordered by Lord Brahma to chant the prayers and to the Supreme Lord, so that they can become free from ignorance. So now any auspicious things when we do, like even in our life also, suppose we want to build a house, then we do a bhumi puja. So any auspicious thing, if we are moving to a house, then we also again do prayers. So prayers are required each and every time. So what happens when we do the prayers? The prayers when we do, we are getting purified. The anarthas are also getting destroyed, and gradually we are coming out of ignorance. But the prayers have to be done on a regular basis, not that one day I do prayer and then all my anarthas are gone and I'm purified. No, because it takes a long time for the purification to happen. And that's why they were able to create the living entities. So just imagine the amount of prayers the Prajapatis had to do to create the whole universe. And it is only through prayers that we are connecting ourselves to the Supreme Lord. And because we are connecting to the Supreme Lord, that's why the ignorance is getting removed. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, the first sentence is very, very important for all of us to see, that he mentions over here. In this verse, we can understand that the various types of living entities were created simultaneously at the very beginning of the creation. So, and then he says that nonsensical Darwinian theory of evolution is not applicable here. So we know that we all have studied in our school also the Darwin's theory. And what is that Darwin's theory? It is the theory about the biological evolution, that the species can change over time and new species have come from the existing species, and species share common ancestors. So this is a theory which Darwin had, and we have also seen, in a diagram, in an illustration where the ape, he is changing the body from one body to another, and he's evolving. The body is evolving, and then slowly it is evolving, and then suddenly, then the man, he's becoming into a man. So this is a theory which is actually discarded by the Vedic philosophy. So that's why Prabhupada over here, he writes that, we can, that all these living entities were created simultaneously. Means simultaneously everything was created at the time of creation. So the apes, the human beings, the amoeba, name it, all the living entities were created simultaneously. And that's why we don't accept the theory of Darwin over here. Yes. And then, and it is also that told over here later that it is not that the people didn't have intelligence at that time, and intelligence was evolved later on. So this is also Prabhupada mentions over here, this is also not true, because who is the first living entity who was being created? The first living entity who was being created by the Lord was none other than Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, we know he is the most intelligent. Why is the most intelligent? Because he is the one who has created the whole of the universe. All these planetary systems, everything has come from Lord Brahma, all these living entities, and he has given everything to everyone. Even the consciousness, everything has come from Brahma. So this is what also is false thinking, that the body has evolved. The body is not evolving. It is the only thing which is evolving is the spiritual spark. So that is the thing which is evolving, not the body is evolving. The consciousness of the person is evolving. Yes. So then we see in chapter 15, text number 8, Krishna says that Sariram yadavapnoti yachapi utkramatishvaraha grihitvaitani samyati vayur gandhani vasayat. The living entity in this material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits to take another body. So over here, Prabhupada also mentions over here that these bodies are also being, the bodies are actually, when you give one type of body, the other body is taking, we take another kind of body, and it happens because of the consciousness of the person. So what is happening is, when the living entities is getting, this is a machine which I've got, this is a body which I've got. Now, according to the consciousness which I'm having right now, the another body is getting formed. So the factory is already started of getting another body. So it is very important that what consciousness which we are having. So over here, Prabhupada also says, that as the air carries aromas, that's how the body is also one body is getting quit and then another body we are getting. So as we see that the air, if it goes from a very fragrant flowers of, say there is a bed of roses over here and the air is going from that bed of roses. So what is the air carrying? The fragrance of the roses, right? And similarly, if that air is again going to a very filthy place, then we are having very foul smell and we just want to cover our nose because it is very foul. So the same thing is happening with our consciousness. If we are in a very lower mode of consciousness, if we think in a very low level, then at the time of death, it is sure that we will have a body of a cat or a dog or a hog because the consciousness is very, very low. And if we have a consciousness of godly consciousness, then definitely we will have the body of a demigod maybe. Or if we are quitting the body, remembering Krishna, then we will go to Vaikuntha Loka or to Goloka. So the all process which we are following now, right from reading and doing service, all the activities which we are doing, Krishna conscious activities. Now my question to you is, why are we doing it then? Why? What is the need of it? Can anybody say? Why are we doing service at the temple? Why are we reading? Why are we chanting?
For
what
purifying.
reason?
For
Sorry?
purifying us, for purifying for
Yes.
ourselves,
Yes, definitely for purifying ourselves.
to get mercy from the Lord, from the devotees.
Yes. And in this context, like, you know, I'm talking about this body, changing of body. So what do you think will happen at the end? Why are we doing this?
We can remember the Krishna,
Yes.
Antakale Chamameva.
Antakalecha, yeah. So what happens is, like, you know, all these activities which we are doing is so that, you know, Antakale Chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yati yah prayati samadbhavam yati nasti yatra samsayaha. So, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature of this, there is no doubt. So all these activities which we are doing is to remember Krishna at the time we quit the body. Now it is very difficult because we are all working, we are going to our workplace, we are 8 hours, we are in a job to remember Krishna. And sometimes, you know, if the job is very demanding, then it is, do we remember Krishna when we are working in a very tense environment and where you have to meet your targets and deadlines? Do we remember? Please.
We should not.
We should
We-
not?
Not. We focus to work, isn't it?
We are focused in our work. We are not remembering Krishna at that time. Yeah, that is true. You know, I mean, sometimes maybe he comes, but even the work which we are doing, it is also to, we have to do it sincerely because that is also a service to the Lord.
Yes. Mm.
So whatever occupation we are doing, we have to be very sincere in that occupation, what we have, because that occupation has also been given by the Lord to us,
Lord, yeah.
and for a purpose. So we are doing that occupation so that we have some Lakshmi, and that Lakshmi we are also giving it to the Lord for his service. And also it is required to go to the dhams, because we devotees like to go to the dhams as well. So those things, the material activities are also very important. So the question is that whatever time is left with us after coming back from our workplace, that is the time that we have to devote in Krishna consciousness activities. And and by doing this, like, you know, people say that oh, you know, रहने दो ये सब, it's okay, you know, I'll remember God, you know, at the time of death, you know, अभी मौज मस्ती करते हैं, अभी, like, you know, खाते पीते हैं, उसके बाद देखा जाएगा, like, you know, let me, I will see those things later on, you know, at the time of death, yes, I will remember God. But it is such a false notion or an illusion that people think that at the time of death I'll remember Krishna, because it is very, very hard, it is very difficult. Like, you know, for example, when there is a traffic, and, or, you know, you're going in a car and you have to just press your brake, what comes out from your mouth is a consciousness of the person. It will determine the consciousness of the person. Sometimes Krishna might not come. So how can we say that Krishna will come when we are quitting our body? That is, Krishna is the biggest cheater as well. So he will cheat us at the time of death, because if we are not doing it sincerely, then Krishna will make sure that we will not remember him. So the whole practice of doing all these things is that, we can at least, Krishna by his mercy will remind us to take his name. Or even if we are not able to remember, say Krishna, he will make arrangements so that the remembrance of Krishna will come. Because it is also seen that at the time of death there is so much of phlegm and there is so much of difficulties that to speak about Krishna or to say Krishna is very hard. It's very difficult. But that's why you will see that the devotees, they wear the tilak, they come with pictures and everything in front, so that at least we can remember Krishna. And by remembrance also, if we quit the body, then we are going to him. So that's why over here Prabhupada has mentioned that the living entities, at the time of quitting his body, he's taking different types of body, and whatever consciousness he is having, he's getting it accordingly. So this is another point. And then another point over here is in this verse is very important, which is called as dhvasta tamasaha. So in this verse, dhvasta tamasa is very important, for without being free of ignorance, one cannot control the creation. So that's why the Prajapatis were told that you pray and then you will be free of ignorance. Now, by default, everybody is in ignorance. Every one of us is in ignorance. Everyone. And what is that ignorance all about? The ignorance is the forgetfulness of Krishna. That is the most first important thing, is that as a living entities, like when they come into the material world, in the womb, they all pray that please, when I come out, I have to remember you, I'll pray to you. But as soon as the living entity is coming out of the womb, he is in this material world, and he is actually not remembering Krishna. So that is the condition of the living entity. Oh my God, what happened? The screen went out. Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes.
Everything is fine, Mataji. Everything is going.
Okay. Okay, because the screen is just white in front of me. Okay, so how? So what is this ignorance all about? The ignorance is about that I am the doer. It is the false ego. That is what everyone thinks about. So when we are in false ego, so we are not remembering Krishna. So what should we have actually? What should the ego be? What should be the real ego?
The real ego is, Mataji, that I am a servant of the Lord, so I have to serve the Lord.
Yes, the real ego is I am the servant of the Lord. And what is happening now, that I am forgetting that I am the servant of the Lord. And then that is the false ego. And we think that we are the doers. Everything, whatever is happening, I am doing it. I am at the center. So, in the verse 3.27 of Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Prakriti kriyamanani guna karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. So this is what everybody is thinking, that I am the doer, I am doing everything. So in the Bhakti Marg also, we devotees also, we are all practicing devotees, but there are moments when we forget that we are having, we are having real ego, or we are having false ego, because when we also get some incidents where there are conflicts, or we get the kicks, then what happens to us? we take it very seriously and we think that, oh my goodness, what has happened? Why it has happened? It should not have happened with me. Why people are doing like this to me? So this is all because we are having that false ego. It is again I and me and mine is coming at the center. So whatever is happening in and around us, if we think that is happening because of the will of the Lord, because we also know that everything in and around us is happening because it is sanctioned by Krishna. Krishna has his hands in it, because we know that not even a blade of grass moves without his sanction. So if this thing is happening to me, means it is coming from Krishna, and if we accept that, then we are not flaring our false ego. But as soon as we are starting not accepting it, that means I'm keeping myself at the center, and I'm giving air to my false ego. So that is what is happening. That's why, sometimes if we are doing service, and if we are not appreciated, we get disheartened, and then we think that, oh, I'm not being appreciated. So I should maybe next time I will not do this service because I'm not recognized. I'm doing, if I'm recognized, then I'll be doing it. But if I'm not recognized, why should I do it? So this is what the false ego is playing trick all the time. Yeah. So therefore, we become succumb to this mode of ignorance. And how do we come out of this ignorance? Is that connectivity to the Lord is very, very important. So that's why every day why are we doing it every day? Because to remind ourselves that we are the servants of the Lord, and we have to do it in and out whenever there is time, free time. If there is 5 minutes time in the break time, at least remember Krishna, do some chanting or read something, and not to waste time, because we know that life is very, very short. Now 2024 has begun. How long we are going to live, we don't know. So life is very limited with us. And so let's use this life in glorifying and remembering Lord at each and every moment in our free time, because the time is slipping from our hands, and we will not even come to know when our end is coming. I mean, when I see that my children are growing so fast, I think that, wow, they are all becoming so big. We are becoming old, and sooner there will be no time left to do our devotional service. So that regret we should not have later on. I wish I could have done some more things. I wish I could have done some more reading. I wish I could have read the whole of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that should not be, because what happens if we go and meet Prabhupada in front of us, and Prabhupada will ask us that, you have done service, but what about my books? Have you read my books? What will we reply to him? Shall we tell him that, no, I didn't read? And shall we tell him that I didn't have time to read? So these are the things which we can contemplate on, that if our spiritual master, or if Srila Prabhupada meets, because he has given so much of his blood in writing these books. And if you look at some of the pictures where Prabhupada is having his magnifying glass, and then he's reading and he's translating the books, your heart will melt, and you'll have tears in your eyes, that at that age, Prabhupada has done so much, and we are not doing justice by not reading the books of Srila Prabhupada. So let's make utilize of whatever time we have got in doing service, as well as by reading the scriptures. Then we'll be doing justice. And then when we come face to face with our spiritual master, or with Srila Prabhupada, and which we hope we will soon, one day, when we quit our body with the right consciousness, again that consciousness is coming over here. So then we can say that, yes, Prabhupada, I have tried reading your books. I have read it. So yes, so to end, I would say that, to conclude, that the first point is that, at the time of creation, all living beings were created simultaneously, and the Vedic philosophy refutes the Darwin's theory that we all came from apes. So that is not true. Second, that we have to be free from ignorance. And how we can be free from ignorance is that when we are connected to the Lord on a daily basis, and we glorify the Lord. And glorification is also when we pay obeisances, and we pray and glorify and ask for some benediction. And the best benediction which we can ask is like Lord Shiva, what he asked, to have the association of the devotees. So we must always ask for that, the benediction as well, that we can always have the association of devotees with us. And the evolution is not, the body is not changing, but what is changing is the consciousness of a person. The consciousness of a person is changing, and that's why it is taking from one body to another body, according to the consciousness. And we know that the classic example of Jada Bharat is also there, that what happened to Jada Bharat at the time when he was thinking of the deer, because of his attachment, he got the deer body. So we have to remember that story very well to tell us that, we have good consciousness, and to have good consciousness, we have to always engage ourselves with devotional service all the time. So with this, I would like to conclude and thank you very much. And if anybody would like to, comment or add something, so please be free to open up this discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vishnupadi. Very nice class, and you covered very nicely with point wise. Yeah, that's for my takeaway point is the reading the Srila Prabhupada's books regularly.
Thank
You
you.
remind us again.
Yeah, basically,
you.
we can, it's very important for our consciousness also. So as and when we read, because each and every sentence of Srila Prabhupada is so important that when we read, it gets into, because sometimes the mind is so tricky, it will give us so many things that, oh, how I can't understand this, and this is not what, I have read. Or sometimes we have preconceived notions that, I know. So what Prabhupada is saying is, is contradicting, but we don't know that, what I know is my limited intelligence. What Prabhupada is saying is actually what it is. Even if I'm not able to understand it right now, but let me have faith in what he has written, and it will gradually, in a process, with the time, it will sink in. Because sometimes we don't understand, so and then we think that, oh no, this is not true. But that is not the case. It is true, whatever he's writing, because it is my limited understanding or my limited intelligence that I'm not able to understand. Yeah. So like this Charles Darwin's theory, if you tell to others, they will straight away say what you're telling is wrong. But we cannot say this to many people. We can have this discussion only in a devotee forum. Now, we have to be very careful whom we are talking what.
Yes.
If we just go and talk this to anybody, that is not the right thing, and that is not preaching also. So we know that the capacity of that person is not over there, so we better not say about it. But yes, in the devotee forum, we know, we can share these things.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
It's a wonderful class to start a new year. To have your
you.
association, so many nice devotees.
Thank
very important takeaway. Even Lord Shiva is praying for the association of devotees.
Yes.
So he's already a Mahajan. So how should I look at? I mean, what sort of association he is seeking?
Yeah. So, so he's a Mahajan. He's the most exalted personality, and the more exalted a person is, the more humble that person becomes. That's what I've realized. In the spirituality, you will see, Prabhuji, the person who is the most learned, even if you see the sannyasis, and it is a humbleness, they will say that, I don't know anything. So please, what I have told is, if you can share, if you can say something to enlighten me, and that is coming from the very exalted, very pure devotees, when they say like this. So that is a humbleness. So this is, again, I would see it is a humbleness of Lord Shiva, that he is so humble, that we have to also take that humbleness from Lord Shiva, that he being the most, he's a most exalted personality, and he is saying that, let me have the association of the devotees, because who is Lord Shiva actually praying to? He's praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And who will give, Lord Shiva also knows now, who will give Lord Krishna to him? It's only by the association of devotees you can get the Lord. Yeah. আমি তো কঙ্গাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি ধাই তব পাছে পাছে ধাই তব pache pache. So Lord, like, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, I am Kangal. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he is a Kamal Manjari from the spiritual world. What is he saying? He's saying, I am into Kangal. আমি কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলছি, like, I'm telling Krishna, Krishna, please give me Krishna. So he is also begging to all the devotees to please give me Krishna. So same thing, the understanding is, because Lord Shiva is a very exalted personality, and he is also saying that, if I take the association of the devotees, please, if I have the devotees association, then I can have the Supreme Lord with me. Without the association of devotees, I cannot have. So that is a thing, Prabhuji. That is my understanding, but you please clarify on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice point here. Also, he's setting a nice example for all the devotees
Yes.
to follow in future. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes.
Very nice explanation. Thank you.
Yes, it is an example, like, all these acharyas, when they are singing in that mood, so they are actually setting up the by their example that we are no one, in all the songs of Vaishnava Thakur, all the Vaishnava songs also, the mood is the same, that I'm nothing. I'm just like, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, again, he says in that song that, Kita Janmo Pai. So he says that, let me be a worm in the stool of a devotee, like, he says that. So this is the mood, and he's saying that, he's setting an example, that's the mood we should have, that, we should have the association, seek for the association of the devotees always, because it is only through the devotees that we can go to Krishna and nothing else. So the devotee association is very important. And there are places in like Pakistan and all these Muslim places also, where there are devotees and they have no association. And what I have heard in one of the stories of Granth, that there is a devotee, he's a Muslim, and he's practicing Krishna consciousness. And how he practices is, he locks himself in the room and he reads Bhagavad Gita all by himself. And if you think about that situation and about our situation, what do you think? Are we not in a very good situation where we have got devotee association and we have to take advantage of that association? And just imagine if we were in that situation where we had no devotees and reading books all by ourselves, how could we have survived? I mean, for me, I can say I would not have, but that boy who is doing Krishna consciousness in that environment, he's very bold and courageous and brave, and Krishna is giving him the strength to take up this Krishna consciousness. So we have to pray for all of them. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, thank you very much for the very nice class and explaining in details all the points.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
What is the need of, first is what is the need of surrendering to the Lord, because only knowledge comes from Him, and if we serve the Lord, we can become pure, and we can remain pure in this material world only by devotee associations. Association of devotees is very important, and only through pure devotees, when we associate with them, we can their qualities are reflected in us, and we have the opportunity to improve our qualities. And it is told very nicely in Bhagavatam that Jashasti Bhakti Bhagavati Rakinchana Sarva Gunoy Shura Tatra Prakashate. In the other words, all the good qualities comes to a devotees who because he is associating with the Lord. Or otherwise, in other words, who are non-devotees, all their qualities are only on the lower level. They do not understand the real knowledge. They do not have the proper knowledge, so they have got the ego. But one who is a pure devotee of the Lord, he knows everything flows from the Lord, so he knows it, and because of that, he never thinks that this quality belongs to him. He knows that the God has given us these qualities, and only because God has given me, I have these qualities. And he's never proud of that. And you have given the example of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Another example we can see very in a similar way of the Chaitanya Charitamrita writer, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He has told that that even he is worse than the Jogai and Madhai, but
Yes.
he has written the best Vaishnava literature, and he is such a highly elevated devotee, but he is considering himself so subdued position. That is the quality of a devotee. We should learn it from them, and only when we associate with them, we have the opportunity to learn it. Otherwise, the Maya is so strong. Every moment it is trying to overpower us. All our activities are being subdued. But if we associate with the devotees, only then we can develop their qualities and purify ourselves. And in this way, we can go back to Godhead in this life itself.
Yeah.
Thank you for that very nice class.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, in Bhagavad Gita also it says that the more you associate with the Supreme Lord, those godly qualities will come in you. So the more you advance in Krishna consciousness, the more humble you become, and the more you advance, you think that you don't know anything. Actually, we don't know anything. We are just the beginners in Krishna consciousness. So that mood comes in all the pure devotees also, and they are so highly elevated, but they will say that we don't know anything. So that is what like thinking about that makes us humble. If they are saying they don't know anything, what are we in front of them? We are no one. Actually, we have just started crawling in this devotional path, a long way to go. The only prayer is that we can have the association at the time of at least leaving the body, so that we can think of him and go. Okay, thank you so much. So can we finish over here?
Yes, Manji, it appears there is no other person to make any comments. So
Okay. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa
eva cha
patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
namo namah.
Ananta
Koti Vishnupati ki jai. Har Grish Vishnupati Mataji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.